Welcome fellow colleagues to my presentation on pediatric otology and to introduce the topic of mastoiditis. Please let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Odo. I spent many years in an ear tube fellowship. My presentation today will be completely boring and didactic.
I am a pediatric resident. I'm the only one that came today. Do you really have to speak about ear ventilation tubes?
I trust that you will do exactly what I tell you to do at the end of the lecture, as I'm a consultant in ear tubes.
What?
Ear disease was very serious before the discovery of ear tubes. The field of ear tubeology developed as modern science discovered through innovation how to create a small round tube for a cone-shaped drum. All children are born with sick and dysfunctional ears. All children congenitally require ear tube placement, preferably twice, and bilateral. Ear tubes have revolutionized the field of pediatrics. Pediatricians may now spend most of their day screening for children who do not have ear tubes. In between ear tube screening clinics, pediatricians prescribe broad-spectrum antibiotics liberally, so children may benefit further from ear tube placement.
I don't use antibiotics that way. Pediatricians spend many years of training to learn how to methodically use antibiotics to culture-resistant organisms. You are not being very scientific.
Double-blind, randomized, controlled trials have never been performed in the field of ear tube placement. Institutional review boards consider withholding ear tubes as unethical.
Oh, good grief.
Children touch and play with their ears frequently to concern their parents. Antibiotics are regularly prescribed by pediatricians for this indication.
Are you really a doctor? Do you realize that I'm the only one in the room? None of the pediatric staff wanted to come.
The pediatricians are now prescribing antibiotics at this very moment to appease anxious parents according to pediatric practice guidelines on how to create resistant organisms.
So that is what they're teaching me to do. Will that allow for more ear tube placement?
Yes. In fact, pediatric newborn ear tube screening is so successful that pediatricians now keep children healthy, primarily to be prepared for that special moment that the operating room calls the ear tube team and the patient for their mutual encounter at critical ear tube surgery.
Are you living in a grand delusion?
If you have any questions, please speak to the doctor who invited me, and somehow arrange for me to get past the head of pediatrics to reach this podium.
I could have stopped you on the way in, but you were running around with that very long skinny mirringotomy knife.
Thank you. I have a final request. Please find many children today in your clinic for ear tube consultation. You must not leave before you fulfill this critical role of the pediatric resident. I'm going to leave now to go to place more ear tubes.
Thank you for that wonderful lecture. See you in the PICU. Thank goodness that lecture is over. I hear the pediatricians running to write orders for antibiotics. Personally, I need another cup of coffee before I skip clinic and go for my own set of ear ventilation tubes after a healthy dose of penicillin.